Good morning, everyone. Coming to you from a very cold and rainy Johannesburg morning. I don't know where you guys are joining from. But yeah, happy to be here and happy to have your audience. So this morning, I'm here to talk to you about, hold on. There we go. So the premise of this morning, we're here to talk about risk, you, me, and why we ever have anything to do with each other. Right? So just as an intro, so you know who you're listening to this morning, as Byron mentioned, my name is Nox Dlamini. So I come from a brokerage called XonRisk. I'm the managing director. We're a majority Black female-owned brokerage, something we're very proud of. It's youth-run, youth-owned. So we really think of ourselves as bringing a fresh perspective to the insurance industry and the businesses that we look after. And we fancy ourselves to be engineering and construction specialists. So the world of plumbing, obviously, as one of the areas that construction encompasses, is something we're very comfortable with, very well versed in. So yeah, really pleased to be here with you guys, looking after you this morning and sharing a bit of knowledge that I hope you can use going forward. So when we talk about risk, what is it that we're really looking at? So risk is defined as a situation involving exposure to danger. So just to drill down, really, we're looking at any negative events that can occur and impact your operations, your ability to operate, and ultimately your bottom line, right? Which is what we all care about here as we're doing business. So obviously, if you can't operate, you can't earn your income or the same level of income that you used to. So it's something that really poses a danger to your business. And the nature of these events are that they're unforeseeable. You don't know when they're going to happen. They're accidental. You can hardly control how they happen. And they're potentially catastrophic. They range in severity. And when we talk about catastrophe, we're talking about something that can shut your entire business down. And it's pervasive, right? So why should you care? The nature of risk is that it's pervasive, meaning you can't really escape it. You don't know when it does come for you. You don't know if it can or will come for you. And in the same breath, you don't know how badly it will affect you when you can. So it's a really grim picture that I'm painting here. But the good news is that there is a way to plan for it. There is a way to provide for it so that it doesn't affect you as much. And that's really where the insurance world comes in. So these bad things do happen. They affect you and they affect your business. But on the other side of it, insurance is there to help you manage the risk. So now there's a misconception I'm going to clear up there. Insurance doesn't come as the savior to make sure the bad things don't happen. They're still going to happen. That's the nature of risk. We can't help when it comes, how it comes, and how badly it affects you. But insurance is sort of the safety net to make sure that you recover quite quickly from those events so that you're able to continue operating. You don't suffer as large or any financial loss, and your business is minimally impacted. And the picture that sort of comes to mind, if you can imagine, this is very grim. Sorry, I'm in that mood today. Someone standing at a at a vantage point, a certain vantage point, and they're jumping. So if you can imagine this being your business, there's two businesses and they're jumping from sort of this vantage point. At the bottom, when one business jumps, there's a trampoline. So they jump down and they bounce back up, right? And that's because insurance allows them to be able to restore their operations, pay them out, and sort of indemnify and sort out whatever the bad situation was, restore them to their prior position before the loss, and they continue operations. So they bounce back. And, for the other business who doesn't have the safety nets, doesn't have insurance, doesn't have the right insurance or level of cover, they sort of jump down and, there is no safety nets, there is no trampoline, and we can all imagine what happens there. Okay. So these risks, what are these bad things that can happen to you? What makes this word risk so bad? I think I've explained that. But here I want to focus on the pragmatic, practical, real-life examples that you can relate to in your world to assist you with understanding why you should care enough about risk to do something about it, to protect yourself from it and make sure you have the right cover. I'm going to talk about three main exposures: to you and your business, to your clients, and the property that you work on, and finally the liability exposures that you guys face. So this is the legal exposure that you open up yourself to in the normal course of running about your jobs and your business. So the first one, what are the real pragmatic things that can happen to you in your business? And I thought I'd keep it very simple. So let's say you are working on a big job and you're keeping, it's all hands on deck, and you go and keep, all the equipment that you're going to use in a warehouse because it's closer to the sites that you're going to be working on. Overnight, there is a break-in, right? Theft, it's a reality in the country that we live in. It's something that can occur. That's the majority of your equipment. That's what you use to carry out your job. You get to site, or you get to the warehouse to collect your equipment for site, and it's gone. In that moment, the capital outlay in order to purchase that equipment, it's not something that you can just readily do again in order to get that equipment. Some of it is on back order. It's not something you can get straight away in order to be able to continue. So now you possibly face penalties from either the main contractor or the principal, because you can't carry out your job. You have other jobs that you still, have in the pipeline that you need to carry out. You're out of equipment. That's a very real reality that you face. Simple example, but it happens. So moving on-site risks and surrounding property. You get called out to do a job. There's a leak in a bathroom, for some high net worth individual. So you make a drive out to Bryanston, Volusia. You get to the client's house. You make your way to the bathroom. You're sourcing the leak of the pipe, and as you're doing so, the leak of the source of the leak. You're sourcing the source of the leak. I tripped over my words there. As you're doing so, you drop a heavy piece of equipment on the Victoria and Alfred bathtub that they have in there. And, obviously they're going to hold you responsible for that. So as you go in, you may, you look at it as you have this job to do. You have to locate the source of the leak. You work on this particular pipe, but there's all the other equipment, all the other property that belongs to the client in that room, in that bathroom, that is in your care, custody, and control for the duration of your job that you're responsible for. If anything happens to anything in there, they will surely hold you responsible for fixing that, for repairing, for replacing, whatever the case may be. And that's an additional, financial exposure that you now have as a result of you coming to do that job. So that is also something that you can provide for. And then design and legal. Let's say you're working on a new housing development, and you guys have been designing the plumbing reticulation with the wet services specialist engineer, and there's a mistake in there somewhere. So he hands it over to you. You're obviously, tasked with implementation for this job across all the housing units in the development. And there's a mistake in there. Now you can follow those instructions to the T. They've been signed off by the engineer, and you're just going about your job. Come handover, or whenever that mistake is then realized, as the person who actually implemented that design, you will be one of the first people whose fingers get pointed at to say, this is your fault. We need to redo this whole thing. Therefore, this needs to come from your pockets and you need to pay for it. That's quite an expense. So expense in two ways. Obviously, you're going to point fingers back to the engineer and say, no, we just carried out these instructions to the T. But there's going to be a legal battle that's going to ensue because the engineer is going to push back. So now you're incurring legal costs, right? And now your professional work is being called into question. So now, your professional indemnity sort of kicks in, which is another insurance policy that you can take out. Say, well, we need to defend this, and we need to actually get to the bottom of who was responsible. Those are legal costs that you're incurring. Lawyers don't exactly come cheap. And if you are found to have, done something wrong or been negligent, then that cost does fall back onto you. So, I don't think in your businesses you have a large cash stash for what ifs that is sitting there that can pay for this. So that's another thing that you possibly have to plan for, provide for. And that's a risk that you face in your business. So what are the solutions, right? We mentioned that insurance is a risk management tool that can help you with exactly planning and preparing for these events that we don't know when they come, don't know how badly they're going to hit us when they do. So the first example I pointed to when I spoke about your business and your assets, what you're really looking at there is comprehensive assets insurance. And obviously, this is a blanket approach because, I'm talking to a number of you, but each broker will sort of look at your unique business profile, your size. So this is an assets program or insurance program that can be taken out by businesses of all sides. Your one-man band to, your largest plumbing company. Everybody needs this. Your assets or your bread and butter. This is what you use. Your equipment is what you use to carry out your jobs. So you need to take out insurance for that. So comprehensive assets insurance program is what will assist you with that. So there is light at the end of that tunnel. With regards to the surrounding property and on-site risk that I mentioned, you could potentially need specialized insurance and engineering works, specialized works insurance. And here we're talking about contractors or risks. And that can, either cover you for, if you're a main contractor, a lot of the time you guys are subcontractors. But that's something that you can look at depending on what the terms of the contracts that you guys sign for those jobs are, just to assist you with that. And then on the design and legal side that we mentioned, you're looking at your liability insurances. So, insurance is looked at as something that pays out after assets are damaged or whatever the case may be. But there's an unseen and intangible exposure, and that's the legal one. You can get sued. So there's a host of liability insurances that can look after you there. I mentioned if you're involved in the design aspect, professional indemnity can assist you. If just to give you another example, you're working on site and let's say brick, as you're chipping away at a wall, a brick falls onto someone who's doing a site walkthrough and they have this large gash on their head. That person's going to sue you for medical expenses, sue you for pain, trauma, suffering. And, we're seeing an increase in litigious nature in South Africa. So the lawsuits are getting ridiculous. So, for a small gash like that, it's not just the medical expenses. People can then claim future trauma, future pain and suffering, and tack that onto the bill that they slap you with in a lawsuit. So that exposure really is hard to quantify. And those amounts for liability insurance typically start at 1 million. We don't advise anything less than that. So that's another exposure that you have to prepare for. And liability insurance in its various specialties is there to assist you with that. So what's my role in all of this? What does the insurance broker actually do? So you envision the insurance broker as a bridge between your world and the insurance world. You guys are the plumbing specialists. You're on site, you work with your hands, you're doing all these brilliant things. And then you have insurance companies, and who really knows what they do? And the answer to that is that we do as brokers. We understand those worlds. We understand that world, but also we work quite closely with our clients. So we understand the landscape that you're operating in. We understand your businesses. So firstly, a broker is really there to even the playing field. We understand insurance and we're able to relay that to you in a way that you understanding. We're able to even the playing field because of the power dynamics that can exist. Insurance companies can set all these terms and conditions that are quite onerous and, really murky and hard for you to understand. We're there to clarify, make sure that you understand exactly what you're getting yourself into, what all these legal terms and conditions actually mean, because at the end of the day, an insurance contract is a legal contract. You're binding yourself to something. So a broker is really there to make sure that they flatten those power dynamics, place you on even footing with the insurance companies. So we're really there to advise. That's actually the core of what insurance brokers do. We walk through and talk through your risks and exposures with you. We perform needs analysis, and we make sure that we source solutions that are specific to your needs, your risk profiles, and we find the right solutions to help you taking care of your business. No two businesses are the same. So you really need an insurance broker to be there to look after you and to make sure that you're getting the best deal for you, you're getting the right cover for you, for your business, specific to the risks that you face, according to whatever the profile of your business is. And this is across the short-term insurance spectrum. So as I mentioned, we do fancy ourselves to be construction and engineering specialists, and we really do a lot of work in that space. But your business needs to be looked at as a commercial venture as well, and that's where the comprehensive insurance, assets insurance that I spoke about comes in, where those liabilities can be built in. So you need a professional that can help you look at all aspects of your business and then suggest the right covers for you. And these are covers that you might not even know are available. So that's really, really, really the core of the insurance broker's role and what to assist you with. And then finally, what do you have insurance for if it's not to actually pay claims? And that process can be quite daunting. So a broker is there to support and facilitate the claims process, right? They know what cover you have. So when you report an event, they know which policy to go to. If it's with different insurers, they approach that insurer, and they act as that communication bridge between the insurance company and yourselves to make sure that process is facilitated as smoothly as possible, and really to hold your hand and to support you through that. And at the end of the day, make sure that claims are paid. And as we all know, insurance companies, you can struggle, you can run into some clause or other that they invoke to get out of paying. And really, that's where a broker shines, right? Because they understand these policies, they understand these clauses, they can push back and fight for you. And if a decision doesn't go your way and you do want to take it further, it's really the broker who champions that and takes it further, up the process of complaints. So whether it needs to go to the ombudsman, you're working, you don't have time to do that, but you have a professional on call to assist you with that. So you're not going through it by yourself. And that brings us to the end. So if anyone has any questions at this point, I'm happy to take them, happy to clarify what you guys would like to get further elaboration on.
Thank you very much. I think that was a very informative session. If there aren't any questions at the moment, we'll wait a minute or two. And thank you very much for coming in on this early cold Monday morning. I think a lot of people can take away from this a lot.
Absolutely. I just put on, our contact details there. If there are any questions after the fact and you guys want to chat more about your risk profiles and how we can assist you, we're absolutely there and available for that. Happy to help. Thank you, everyone.